But all right, let's set this up. So Bernie Sanders was on the Joe Rogan podcast earlier today. This is huge, and this is huge for both of them. I think it's significant. Again, Bernie needs to speak to all major audiences, and like it or not, Joe Rogan is a major audience. And also, this ain't Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard, and I don't even mean that as an insult. I'm talking objectively. Bernie Sanders is a presidential frontrunner. And so this puts Joe Rogan's access to politics in a completely different tier. Let's take a bit from this.
Yeah, so I'm about halfway through listening to this, and Bernie doesn't quite have the range that Cornel West does. It kind of stays on message a bit more, but I think this is interesting.
Say, I remember the first time I took DMT, and it reminded me of how Harry Truman said that everything that we did that was good in the country was called socialist, Joe.
So I have to riff on that for a second. A Bernie Sanders psychedelic experiences just lead to the same. It's just like, and then I saw a helix swirling in Jane's eyes, and then I realized that we were part of the same matter, which is why it's absolutely outrageous that we have not raised the minimum wage in this country. All right, go ahead.
Medicare and Medicaid, and to do away with all corporate taxes. So what you have right now, that's what greed is about. They want it all. So as you indicated, you have a company like Amazon, owned by Jeff Bezos, who happens to be the wealthiest guy in America, worth about $150 billion. Amazon paid zero in federal income taxes. And it's not just them. Dozens of corporations paid nothing or very, very little. And on top of all of that, you got these guys able to stash all over the world trillions of dollars in the Cayman Islands, in Bermuda, in Luxembourg, and other tax havens. That is insane, and that has got to end.
Yeah. How is it legal to do that? Why is it legal?
Joe, it is legal because they make the laws.
Right.
All right? That is what you're touching now on the heart and soul of the tragedy of American politics. How does it happen that on issue after issue, the American people, the working class of this country, want something, nobody pays any attention to it, but billionaires want something, and it gets done? And that has to do with a corrupt political system. So right now, if you are the Koch brothers or some multi-billionaire, you say to the leadership of the Republican Party, and in some cases to the Democratic Party, hey, guess what? We're prepared to put hundreds of millions of dollars into your campaign. Hundreds of millions of dollars coming from one or two people. And here is my agenda. I want tax breaks. I want a trade system which will enable me to shut down in this country and go to China or Mexico and pay people there $2 an hour. I want to be able to do more pollution because I don't like all of this, money I have to spend preventing pollution of the air or the water. That's what I want you to do. And by the way, I'm worried about the deficit, so you may as well cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Good. How many Americans actually believe that we should give tax breaks to billionaires and cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? Very few. That is, talk to Mitch McConnell. Get Mitch on the show. That is exactly what he believes.
So, Professor, I think look, I love Bernie. I'm totally in the bag for the guy. But honestly, even though I understand, and please elaborate on the limitations, but is there something just so, I'll say revolutionary, just even in the most simplest social democratic form of having somebody come back with just some clear class politics in this country?
Absolutely. I mean, we all owe Bernie Sanders an enormous debt. Whether we agree with everything he says or want to go further, like I do in some cases, that's a different matter. We can have that debate. I've actually had it with his folks and with him too. But he did the unthinkable in 2016. Yes. He didn't walk away from the label socialist. He didn't. And in that moment, he opened up the possibility for that to be taken seriously. And when he said, I am not going to be the 1 or 2% candidate, I am going to show you that there's support in the United States way bigger than that for these ideas. And then he did it. We're all in his debt. We all have space in the political life of this society because he was the ornery old senator from Vermont right. who wouldn't be shut up about it. And I don't mean to give it all to him. Look, he wouldn't have done it without the Occupy Wall Street. In right. its way, several years earlier, those young people and other, it wasn't only young people. I like to tell people when they say to me, suppose those folks had come to you a few months earlier. Since I teach at the new school, it's a few blocks from Zuccotti Park, and they said, we're going to set up some tents and we're going to have a tent city, and that's going to be your revolutionary act. I would have thought they were nuts, and I would have told them, you're crazy. No one's going to pay any, you're going to get a page 10 story in the New York Post about it, and it'll be a joke. And I'm so glad they never asked me and that they never got my dumb advice, because they went ahead and did something. They had an inkling, those people. They had an inkling that maybe it could work. And it did. And suddenly, this amazing phenomenon. I remember I went up to Bangor, Maine. The people who had a little encampment on the green in Bangor, Maine, invited me up there to talk to Occupy Wall Street in Bangor, Maine. And there they were, several hundred people having the time of their lives. And what they told me, almost everyone, was, it's not about the issues. What we're discovering is there's hundreds of us here in Bangor, Maine. They were listening to me, but they were side-eyeing one another because they wanted to figure out, who are these people? They had never come together. They didn't know there were that many. Each of them thought they were the only one with these unusual ideas. That movement is then picked up by Bernie, is now running with Bernie and AOC, and it's bringing more and more people, and it's become part of the discourse, even though everybody and their brother tried to prevent it.
You've just watched a Michael Brooks show video, and you can watch all of our full Maine live shows every Tuesday night at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and subscribe to get all of the clips you want. We're covering the globe. We're focusing on international relations, the intellectual dark web. We're having fun. We're doing deep dives with a lot of amazing guests. Of course, become a patron for the whole thing at patreon.com/TMBS, or subscribe to this YouTube channel and help us keep growing and get that content out there. Subscribe below.